So navigation in a UI serves two purposes. One of them to get you to where you want to go, but one of the other things that it often is used for is to show you where you are. And so it'd be nice if we can basically give the user some indication of what page that they're on. And that's something else that we can end up doing by using a router. So let me just show you what we're going to be doing here. And again, not a huge change, and we could also make this more prominent, but it would be nice if when we were on the home page, we would see that we were on the home page, and when we were on the about page, we would see we were on the about page. So that's what we're going to build towards. Let's take us back to where we were, and let's see how we could do it. Well, the first thing that I want you to realize is that when you end up putting something in a route, and let me just change the home page. So right now, we're not directly specifying that we're calling the home page, but we're doing it within the context of our router. So I'm just going to change this. And again, when I do that, just be careful because I just want to do a console.log here. So this should work the same way. Let's make sure. There's our home page. But I'm going to put a console.log. And I'm going to grab the props. And what I'll find out is that since this is inside of a router, and that's the only reason I have this information, these are all properties that we're getting from the router. So behind the scenes, when I end up putting a route here and I say home and I say it's going to be this component, what ends up happening is that this will end up getting created. This component will end up getting mounted. And one of the things that'll happen is it'll end up getting passed some additional information. So for instance, if I looked at the props.location, not locations, location, I would see the location and I could find out things like the path name. So let's see how we could take advantage of that. Right now, we've got our nav here. It'd be great to highlight which of these is being selected. It would also be nice if we could sort of move this out and do something along the lines of and let's put a return here. So this is the same JSX that we had before. Let's format it a little bit nicer. This is the same JSX that we had before, and I could go over here and just put in nav. So again, I'm not doing any, this it happens to be inside of a router, but if I went over here, this should work the same way as it did before. Here's about, here's home. Let me take out this noise up here. And I actually I'm not going to use my props right here. But let's see what props we end up getting here. So we do have an object, because we always get an object for props that end up getting passed in here, but I don't have any of the navigation props or the routing props. So what I could do in order to get that is to just put this inside of a route. And I could say component equals nav. Now, I want this all the time, so I'm not putting a path here. Okay? I'm not putting it within this switch either. Because then it would be the only thing that ended up getting rendered, but I want this all the time. No matter what happens, I want to have this nav. And now, I'll see that I end up getting back my props. And what this allows me to do is that I can end up going in here, and I'm going to say path equals props location path name. And let's console log it. And we'll see that I'll have about when I'm on the about page. I'll have home when I'm on the home page. And even on a hard reload, works the same way. So what I can end up doing here is let's start out by just putting a style here. We'll say if you are selected, we'll give you a border of solid 1 pixel black. And if we go down here, let's just see what this looks like. We'll do class name equals selected. So we'll see that happens with our home page, but it never ends up changing. What we could do is we could make this conditional by putting this in braces and putting in, using the ternary operator and saying, hey, look, if the path is equal to /home, we want to use the class of selected, otherwise no class. And we could do the same. The only thing that would do here is that if we're on about, we don't see anything selected, but home we do. But we could just do the same thing here. Let's copy this. And we're going to do the other path here. We'll say if you're about, then you are selected. You can think maybe about drawing this out a little bit because they're similar. Maybe you could end up looping over some objects to create those lengths. Let's take this path name out. And now if I'm on about, I'm selected. So what we're really getting at here is that if you put a component within a route, or a component gets rendered through a route, there are extra properties that get passed here that can end up turning out to be very useful to us. And in particular, it's an easy way to set up our navigation so we could show where the user is on the site.